All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Go with the Flow. I'm your host, Folarin. This is episode number 2 of this 2.0 version of the show. First episode came out 2 weeks ago. I'm going to be doing these every 2 weeks. Today I have some special guests with me. My 2 roommates, who, if you're watching the video, you can always tell who's in you can always tell who's in there. I love how people will be like, "Oh, we have special guests." Like, I'm not going to reveal who it is, but then if it's like a video, you can actually see who it is. But no, my 2 roommates, Grant and Obi, are with me here today. But before I get to my guests, I'm going to start by doing all the things that I have to say to kind of get this podcast going.
Yes, sir.
Stop what you're doing. Like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, share. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Do all those fun things that
tell another friend.
To tell another friend. Exactly. But yes, without further ado, I have my roommates with me. Grant to my left, Obi to my right. Welcome to the show, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Long
Cheers,
time
mate.
coming.
I was like, yeah, this is honestly when I was like, I want to come back and do the show again and like bring it back. You guys were I had in my mind like when I wanted to have you guys on.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, I was thinking maybe like episode number 1, but then I was like, oh, let me have Shek on. And then initially, I actually bumped you guys down the road a little bit. You guys were supposed to be like episode 5. And then the guest who was supposed to be on today, actually, she canceled, but she'll be on. She's a busy girl. And so I was like, it makes the most sense to have you guys on.
Right.
So the way I'll start it is I will have you both give quick little intro of yourselves, backgrounds, just, the way that you want, whatever you want to put out there for the people to know about each of you.
You got it, man.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
Here we go.
Yeah, so Obi he'll just randomly do these British accents, and so that's kind of why we're laughing about this. Because
but
go
also
ahead.
thank you for having us. Thank you for having me on. I'm Obi. I'm from Morristown, New Jersey. I went to Carnegie Mellon University, played football there. Grew up my whole life in New Jersey. I'm living in New York now with these guys. I'm part of a big family from Nigeria. And so I'm just living life in New York now. So
Wonderful.
Cool. I'm Grant from the DMV area, Virginia. Grew up in Virginia, moved to Maryland when I was a bit older. Went to college in Massachusetts and then found myself in New York with my favorite roommates.
Favorite
Actually, I
roommates.
shouldn't say my favorite roommates. You guys are my favorite roommates, but I have roommates in college.
okay.
They were my favorite at the time.
Okay.
But now that I'm in a new stage of life, y'all my favorite.
Okay, I guess you covered that adequately.
Y'all my favorites. I'm not gonna cap. Y'all my favorites.
I was about to say, there we go. But
Thanks.
honestly, I think one of my favorites, or again, one of the stories that we've probably told the most is the story of how we met. And that's probably the first thing that people always ask me when I either we're together, they ask about my roommates. Because one, as you just heard, we didn't go to school together, which we'll get into that later about again, living with people you went to school with versus living with strangers. We'll get much more into that. But Grant, I will let you do the honors of telling the story of how we both met.
Well, before I begin, honestly, how many times do you think we've been asked this question? Like on a
when we go out and people ask us, it got to the point where I was like, I can't tell. We just started going back and
You
forth.
gotta
about
switch
who
it
told
up.
We had to switch it up because we've told this story at least like 30 sometimes. And so probably more.
crazy, yeah, probably more to be
Probably
honest.
more than that. Because even that's like with us in the same place, but sometimes when we're not with each other. But
Yeah,
I'll let you go ahead with the story.
sure. So, Flo and I interned at the same firm last summer, and it was like the second to last day of our internship, I think. I was in Target. I was walking looking for thank you cards because I was told that's like the nice thing to do. And, obviously you want to make a good impression, especially on the second to last day. So I'm walking, looking for thank you cards in Target, and I see another, obviously very handsome gentleman, look very dapper, wearing slacks, button down, dressed the same way as me. And, we're in Tribeca, so not too many, people with a lot of melanin around those areas. So we're in the same aisle. We kind of make eye contact with each other, and he's like, thank you cards? And I'm like, thank you cards. So from that point on, we kind of just like hit it off. I always say like, for me, I'm very like, I know the vibe of someone right when I meet them. And with Flo, it was like instant vibes. So we went back, kicked it in the office for like 3 hours that day, probably a couple hours. I went to his floor, he came to my floor. So yeah, that's how we met. And then I got a text when we were on like a introductory Zoom in the winter, that following winter, and he was like, "Yo, you need a roommate?" I was like, "Say less." So that's the short and sweet version.
All right, now
So
Obi,
inspirational, man.
Obi, how do we meet?
Me and Flo met on GroupMe. Shout out GroupMe. I think we were all like an analyst chat or whatever, and I think we had like a few mutual friends, and so I had reached out to him. We started chopping it up, and I asked him, I was like, "Oh, are you looking for roommates?" And at first, he's like, "Oh, like I already got a roommate," kind of got that solidified. I was like, "Okay, cool." I'll kind of like continue the search, and I think like maybe like a week later, he texted me. He's like, "Hey, like we actually want to do 3. Do you want to jump in?" And I was like,
Say less.
he's like, the other guy's name is a guy named Grant Robinson. I'm like, hey, let me look up this name. I'm like, okay, cool enough.
First, I'll just say I love the contrast between the stories of how we met because it ended up working out so well, which we'll get much more into, obviously. Right. But again, this happened. I think it was a meet cute technically. Like, do you know what a meet cute? Do you know what a meet cute is? Yeah. Meet cute it's like a natural like meeting between you and someone else, where it's like it's usually used for relationships, but like it could be for friendships, it could be for whatever. Where it's like, oh, you bump into someone
like at a coffee shop or something like that.
Yeah, at a coffee shop. Like we had a little meet cute, and that's how we became roommates.
I like that word.
It's great. You just DM me on roommate and we met, but same type of vibe. But no, I'll just say that. This is the first time I've told y'all this. So the full kind of like in-depth story. Well, not that much more in-depth. But when you actually hit me up asking for a roommate, I think before even this is because I think I'd hit you up first. And I think we were planning on doing 2 people. And so when you hit me up, I was like, I don't want another roommate. I was like 2 is probably the perfect number.
I'm not gonna lie, I was low-key thinking the same thing because when you hit me up, I was like, bet like 2 people, like I already know, I didn't know him that well, but I was like, he's clearly not crazy, like good dude, I'll be able to live with him. And then he said 3, I was like, man, who's this other guy? Like, but it's worked out.
So you hit me up, you were like, do you have a roommate? I was like, yeah. And you were like, I think you said something like, oh, do you want to like, are you looking for a third? And I think before even like going back to Grant, I was like, we check, we're probably good. Because I remember
I was all right.
Because I think I said no initially, and then I think I texted you and I was like, maybe we should do a little consideration, a little three-man situation.
It worked out.
Look how God works. Look how God works.
Exactly. Funny how that works. But okay, first, actually no, we'll start with the weeks. How was this week generally for you? Because this was a 4-day week. It was the episodes come out like 10 days after, so it was MLK Day Monday. So it was a 4-day work week. Personally, this was probably like the longest 4-day week I've ever had in my life. So what was this week like for y'all?
I agree. Honestly, I think with 4-day weeks, what I didn't realize before working is that last day is not really like true enjoyment. It's kind of like the Sunday scary thing. I never really understood that until 5-6 months ago.
When you start work full time.
Yeah, exactly. So I think like Monday, you might get some emails like coming in, and then you start sweating, getting nervous, and then it's crazy too because like Sunday night, I went to bed. I was like, I really hope MLK Day is a Monday, and like I knew it was, but I was just for some reason scared that like I read something wrong or whatever. So like I think that just goes to show that like 4-day week, sometimes you start thinking about the week on Sunday, so you don't really enjoy Monday, and then you try and still cram a 5-day week into 4 days. So
I don't know. I had just come back from traveling on that Monday, so I got back like Tuesday morning. So I was a little bit jet lagged, and I kind of like checked out from work like the entire weekend. Usually like I keep an eye on like the emails or whatever like that. So I had like a lot of catching up to do, but it's kind of like the crazy weeks start to feel more normal, like the more of them you have. So it's just like, it's the same old at some point. No,
that's true. Very, very real thing about one thing that each of you said on the crazy weeks starting to feel normal. I remember probably like after the first like 4 weeks of work, I found myself saying after each week, like, this was the longest week of my life. After each of the first 4 weeks. And probably after 2 months of doing that, I was like, this is kind of just life now. Like these are just like, these long weeks are just gonna be, they're just gonna be what they are. And then also when you mentioned that we like the 4-day weeks, it's hard to you start to think about work on Sunday nights and the Sunday Scaries being real for the first time. Because in college, it's like, yes, you have classes Mondays and you dread it. And it's like, damn, I got class tomorrow. But again, it's the easy schedule of whatever time your class is. I think senior year, my first class on Monday was probably like 11 a.m.
Well, this was crazy. So my second semester senior year didn't have class Friday. And I had one class on Monday that started at like 2. So it was like,
I didn't have
anything. And one class Wednesday, like
I didn't have class on Friday like the last 3 semesters of college. And so transitioning to work where you're like really actually need to work on Friday, or your next week could be like messed up, was super difficult.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things where for the first, like, Sunday Scares, like you said, are a real thing, very real thing for the first time. And I guess it's just one of those adjustment things. And we're not even going to spend that much time talking about work on this episode. But yeah, it's just, you brought that up and it just sparked that point in my mind where it's like basically from Sunday late afternoon, my mind is already on work.
Yeah.
I probably log on for a few hours on Sunday night and then you get ready for the week. But no, Sunday Scaries are very, very real for the first time. But okay, first thing that I want to touch on, which is, again, just kind of random, but I thought about it based on our conversation this morning, which we won't talk about last night.
Which conversation?
We have many conversations were had last night, but just a general one that I've also had this conversation with a few people. What would you say is, because again, we work during the weeks and then Friday night, Saturday night, you could go out. Which of those nights would you say is probably more ideal to go out? And if you only had to pick one each week to go out, would it be Friday or Saturday night?
Mine would be Saturday, because I think Friday, like, I'm tired. Yeah. I'd rather, chill, do something. And I think that's like, as we spent more, I'll speak for myself, like as I've spent more time in New York, I don't feel the need to go out Friday and Saturday. I kind of just want to isolate it to like one so that I can really like have fun that night. So I prefer to like chill, do something wholesome. I mean, I'm always wholesome.
This guy. You hear that? Yes, he's wholesome.
That's right. She knows. Nah. But like do something chill on Friday and then go out Saturday.
I think if you've had like a really stressful week Friday and you have like a really good set of plans Friday can be really fun because it's like you really let go. And then like if you go out and you're really tired after Friday, you still have the rest of the weekend to like chill. So sometimes I like Friday nights more. I think during the summer, the best day of the weekend was Saturday, like during the day.
Saturday during the day.
During the summer, because you could go out, you could go play sports, you could go out to like day parties, you go see your friends. Saturdays during the day, during the summer. I miss the summer so much. They're the summer where it's hands down the best for me.
No, and it's funny because I'm still trying to first of all, I'm not, literally the first like 4 months, it was probably like literally Friday and Saturday night going out. Yeah. And I talked about this with Shaq on the first episode.
This dude was...
Hey, wait, chill out. But that's not very sustainable. But then my thing is, so like, again, after a long week of work, yes, because again, went out last night, and first...
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I will just stop real quick and say, because I went out, I came probably like 3 a.m., like really late, but I was like, when I have the podcast the next day, I always get myself up. Because as I was telling David this morning, on campus, I would record on Friday mornings, and Thursday nights were a big going out night for us. But I would always, no matter how late I stay, I always wake myself up. So I woke up begrudgingly this morning, like, I got to record this podcast. And I heard no movement in the apartment. And I was like, these boys better not miss this episode. This studio is not free, okay? I'm paying for this stuff. So I literally FaceTime to both of y'all, FaceTime audio, get no response. If you didn't text me, I was about to literally barge into both of your rooms.
That's why I got up. I heard my phone buzzing. I was like,
I was in the shower. I was already woken up. I was in the shower.
I bet. So you were both already up?
Yeah.
I think you capping.
I was in the shower. I'm not even lying.
I didn't hear the shower. Did you hear the
shower?
Are you serious?
Talk about.
David's gonna be the one who
yes, exactly. He's gonna.
Okay.
I went to the shower. I came back. I saw the text. I'm like, I'm getting ready. Then I get a call from Flo, and I'm like, oh, I didn't respond. So let me like pick up. And, you know, it was funny. The day before, he's like, yo, make sure you guys get a good night's sleep. Make sure you're up on time. Meanwhile, this nigga out. This dude is
what did I say? What did I say? I said, y'all need to get rest.
He said, y'all need to get rest.
Y'all need to get rest.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Me, on the other hand, I'm well practiced about going out the night before and then recording the next morning. Is this your first podcast that you both recorded?
First podcast for me.
First podcast. So I was like, oh, it's a big day for y'all.
I'm locked in. I got my hydration. You see, I'm drinking water during the episode.
You got a fresh cut just for the episode.
Hey,
So exactly. So that was my point. It was like, I need y'all to rest because I know me. I'm well practiced in going out the night before and coming up, waking up,
You're right,
and recording the spot. And look at us now. Made it on time. Everything's going fine.
Nah, you just natural.
Stop it.
That's actually what's crazy though. Like, I guess like on a real note, the first time I met you.
Oh, first impression.
Honestly swear, I was like, yo, he would be like sick on like a talk show because I feel like you can just talk to anyone. And like, it's funny that like when you said like you actually started podcasting, and I actually told someone, I told Alexis this, like when
Shout out Alexis.
Shout out Alexis.
At work, yeah. Shout out Alexis. Gang. Shout out Gold Street.
Go shoot.
But no, I told her, I was like,
Did we just dox ourselves? We said no, I'm kidding. No one's looking for us.
Yeah, facts. But no, I told her, I was like, if anyone would like get famous doing a podcast and like actually like blow up, it would be Flo.
Oh my God.
We putting that energy in the air.
I said,
like,
we're putting out
Give it up, man.
every episode is about manifestation. First episode
right.
last week, I said I want Michelle Obama and Jeff Bezos on this podcast. I put it out into the universe.
Right.
We're just manifesting all these great things. But now I don't even know how we got there. These are my favorite parts. We get on these little tangents where I don't even know how we got there. Yeah. But essentially, it's hard to. Oh, this is how we got there. Friday versus Saturday night. Friday nights, after a long work week, sometimes I just want to like crash and not do anything that night. And then it's nice to like, maybe stay in a Friday night and then go out to Saturday night. But I will say though, going out on a Saturday night, like if you do too much, your whole Sunday might be ruined.
That's very true.
And then the Sunday scares on top of whatever else, it just compounds it. So I think because of that, I'm more Friday night gang.
That's fair.
I'm doing both.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's be real.
I'm still doing both frequently, but eventually, like when it gets to the point, like I might settle down. Like when I'm like you two, and I'm booed up and cuffed up one of these days.
Yeah, one of these days.
One of the knock on wood. Damn, do I want whatever?
Nah.
So yeah, that's it. So for that reason, I think Friday nights might be my vote because even if you sleep in on Saturday, then you still have your whole day ahead of you, and then even Sunday, and then you could do it all again. And so
that's fair.
That's what I'll keep it at that. But no, okay. So going back to again rooming situations, we literally met at Target. We met on a group me. Did either of you have a hesitation about rooming with someone? Because again, yes, we met that day and it was good vibes and we kicked it, but that was all of 3 hours.
Yeah,
you didn't really know me like that. We never.
Clearly, you guys did. I'm discovering now. They were like, this nigga.
You can tell the story.
The first time we met in person was when
we saw the apartment.
That we live in today. So, did either of you have any hesitations about living with essentially a stranger?
You can start.
I think I didn't have any hesitations. Basically, what I said to myself was like, if it doesn't work out, I won't be the first person to have like a bad living situation in New York. And that'll just be part of the journey and I'll figure it out after. So like that was like the extent of my hesitations actually.
So my thought coming into it was obviously I met Flo. So I was like, he's a like good dude.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
But
no, I didn't know like the dynamic of that like we would have. And I think that's like been one of the best parts about like New York for me is actually living with people who I really like want to go out with, who I want to hang out with like on the weekends and stuff like that. But I just didn't expect me to have that sense of like camaraderie, I guess, with
you can say we're friends. It's okay.
Nah, yeah, but like,
I didn't expect to be friends with my roommates.
I didn't expect to be like good friends with my roommates.
Either, really.
I thought it would just be like you come back to the crib, like say what's up.
I just needed to put someone that's gonna pay rent on time. I was just like,
exactly.
And like honestly, I'm good. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, and I low key had cold feet at one point.
I was about to say, thank you for
Let's get back into this,
segue.
man.
Perfect segue, because I remember this day like it was yesterday. Because we had found this, so the apartment we live in now, we had found. First of all, we looked for a good amount of
for a
time
while, yeah.
to-
Because
like,
I came to New York to
look at apartments. I was coming to New York up from New Jersey, like train ride, probably like not that often, but like maybe 4 or 5 times, like a 3-week stretch to look at apartments. And so we found the one we're living in now. We're like, bet. We like send in all the paperwork. We apply for it. We're like, oh, bet this is the spot that we want. They probably don't get back to us for maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks tops, whatever it was.
I was also out of the country during like the first half of while we were like looking for apartments. So I was like responding hella late and like I couldn't like really see anything. And I was just like, I hope they're figuring it out.
They'll figure it out. But no, so I remember that one morning, one fateful morning, I wake up for like it was. I think I heard the text, and the text actually woke me up, which usually doesn't. But again, sign from God. He's like, bro, check your phone right now. Someone's trying to leave the situation. So I wake up. It was early, maybe like 8 a.m., which at this point in time was like in between work starting. So I was probably sleeping until like noon every day. But at 8 a.m., I wake up because of the text. I look at my phone. I see a paragraph.
It's never good.
Paragraph from Grant. I was like, what did I do? Like, what girl is it now? I was like, no. So it was Grant. And I opened up my phone and he's like, guys, one of my friends, he let me know about this studio situation. The price is really good. If we don't hear back soon, I'm going to go ahead with this. But I just wanted to like flag it to y'all just so you kind of have the full context. I pop out of bed.
My man Flo.
No, but honestly,
he said like 3 apartments right out there.
Immediately reach out to the apartment, find 3 more 2-bedrooms.
Yeah.
Reach out to Obi, like, okay, here's 3 2-bedrooms. If we need a third, here's who we're gonna go with. My mind was going. I'm like, we're gonna work through this. But then I think they get back to us maybe the next, like very quickly after that. And so I guess first quick point, did you even think about the stress that you were inducing on us when you sent that text message?
Here's the thing.
First question. Second question, how glad are you? Second question.
Yeah, I'm on the hot seat.
Second question, imagine that you ended up in a studio.
No, honestly.
What would your New York City experience have been like if you weren't living with these 2 fine gentlemen right
Honestly, like, thank God, because it was this is the best situation, right?
Weird.
But let me give some context before I dive in.
Okay, context. I see what that's gonna do.
One part you omitted from your story
Okay.
was that
Talk to him.
I was also out of the country when all this happened too. I'll say that. That's the first thing. The second thing is we moved during like the priciest time that like we could have moved.
Peak season.
So I was like actually stressing because like I was trying to save money. Like I didn't want to spend a ton on an apartment or whatever. So the studio that was offered, they were offering at like $1,250.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are you living with us?
Hey, man.
They were offering it at $1,250.
Where was it at?
It was in East Village.
Okay.
So I was like, $1,250. That sounded kind of smooth. I could live by myself. Like at the time, I thought I wanted that. So I was like, this sounded kind of smooth, but I had to give a decision in 3 weeks. But like the reason why I didn't just like go off and just do it immediately was one, the lease was like until November. So like I would have had to like either renew. It was dependent. It was like a sublet situation, but it was like a possibility that the person may want to stay. So it was just very like uncertain after the first 3-4 months. And then like I really did like mess with Flo. So I felt bad. I was like, I'm not about to like, can't. Well, I was thinking about it, but like I was like, it would be messed up. I acknowledged to myself it would be messed up. So like I wanted to give us time to like try and figure it out. And obviously like I'm very happy that we figured it out.
It was stressful at first, but it also gave me a sense of relief because I was like, okay, he was very upfront and he was very honest with us.
Communication is key.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, like I feel like
key.
We can all be like upfront with each other, and I actually appreciated that. And I was like, okay, at the very least, we're being honest with each other, and it's not going to be any bad blood. Like you creating enemies with the person before you even like meet them. So I was like, you know what? Let's I'm
in the spirit of this honesty, since we're being honest.
Not be honest, we'll do it.
If the situation had fell through and like we had ended up not being able to get it, and we were like maybe had to find a third that we didn't like, I would have been pissed.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
If I was in your shoes, I would be pissed too.
I would
So
be mad,
I don't blame you.
Word. But again, it all
We
worked
good,
out.
we good.
Look at that. Look how it all worked out. But no, on the point of what you just said, another perfect segue. You guys are good at this. It's
I
like
already
you
know what
kind
you're about to
of
bring up.
know what I'm about to you know what I'm about to bring up.
This is what I
In
was
the
waiting
spirit-
What you better bring up?
In the yeah, but no, in the spirit of, again, something I appreciate about this trio, this roommate situation, we're able to be very honest with each other.
Mhm.
No bad blood. If some's like, we gonna speak about it. I remember the first little thing was like, guys, when you wash the dishes, put them away. Yeah. But I remember I sent that text. I was like, bet, just simple. You got one time I left food out. You're like, put it away. I was like, bet, I appreciate that. Let me know.
Mhm.
So our good friend Obi over here. When's your birthday again?
October 27th.
October 27th. What day did you have people over for
Thursday. I had a Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Thank
So
you.
for Obi's birthday, we people over at our apartment. We had a little party.
Little party,
Have a good little situation. I remember it was a Thursday night. The only night I didn't technically go out that Thursday. There's a story about me going out on a work night for my internship. I think I've told y'all. I'm saving now. That's the story I'm not gonna tell yet. Like I'll whip that out at the right time. So I'm scarred from going out on weeknights. If you know, you know. People who know the story, it's a story. But I'm essentially scarred from going out on weeknights. But this Thursday, for one, it was in our apartment. It was your birthday. I was like, I'm gonna stay up. I'm like, yes, we gotta celebrate our boy Obi.
Right.
So I get back from work, we're like getting the apartment ready. Obi's like, oh, I'm gonna move our dining table outside to make a little bit of space. I said, okay. One, maybe we could probably move it somewhere else in the apartment. Maybe we don't want to put it in the hallway. This table might go. I said it might go missing.
So
put that out into
You put that out into the universe. You put that out into the universe.
Let me finish my story.
Discussion.
Let me finish my story. So I was like, I don't know about that. But again, it was your birthday. Like the vibes are good. It was good. It was your birthday. You were feeling good. So I was like, I'm not going to be the party pooper.
Feeling great.
I'm not going to rain on your parade. I'm like, okay, let's put this out in the hallway. But I was like, bro, you better check on this table.
Word.
Like every hour, top of the hour, like make sure it's still there. Because again, the table might go missing. So the next morning I wake up pretty early for work. So I wake up, I walk downstairs, or I look downstairs, I don't see the dining table. I'm like, it's probably still outside. So even before I go shower or anything, I walk out into the hallway, I look around the corner, I'm like, no table. I walk back inside. I'm like, am I bugging? I look back to where the table should be, and I'm like, no table. And I'm like, okay, maybe they put it somewhere else. I'm like, let me not think that again the table went missing like I said it would. So again, I go about my business, I get ready, and like I said right before I'm about to leave for the day, I'm like, guys, where's the table?
Yeah, you sent us I remember.
He's like, he put it like a LOL at the end. LOL. Where's the table?
Where the fuck is the table? And then I remember your text. He was like, again, a paragraph.
Yeah. When the paragraph comes, that's
It's never good news.
You don't
Never
have to
good
read
news.
the context. It's never good news when it's a paragraph.
when you got your AirPods in and it says Grant Robinson sent you a long message, don't open it.
And but long story short, our table got stolen, which again, that's a case we need to finish. We don't trust our neighbors. If you're listening, we're on to every single one of you. But essentially, there was that spirit of open communication where we lost our dining table. Mm-hmm. I never said I told you so, but I told you so.
No, you did say I told you so. No, you did. You might as well. You were like,
no, you low key. But like at the time, you were like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah,
you're right. I was like, it's your birthday. Like nobody's gonna take a table. Like
who's gonna steal a table?
Who the hell takes a table, man?
And what I will say too is like, it wasn't us just like arbitrarily putting a table outside in the middle of the hallway. We put it like right next to our door, and there was a camera
that conveniently
right in front
wasn't
of the
working.
table.
Conveniently wasn't working. So, in that spirit of open communication.
Now let me tell my side of the story. What Flo said is mostly accurate. What I will say is that we looked very hard for this table. I knocked on pretty much every door on our floor. It got to the point where one time somebody opened the door and I saw a table that looked really similar to ours. And she was kind of short, so I could only see part of it. So I stand on my tippy toes and I look into this person's apartment. And I'm like, oh, do you have our table? And she says, no. I stand on my tippy toes, look over her. I see it's not our table, and I sit back down. And she just looks at me. She's like, did you just look into my apartment? And I told her, I was like, oh, just carry on with your day, man. Like, don't worry about it. So nobody on our floor wanted to fess up. Talk to the doorman. They say the camera's not working.
Conveniently, they say only the cameras on our floor weren't working.
I talked to other tenants. They said the cameras do work. I talked to at one point, I called the super and he said, somebody told me your table got returned. I called the super 5 times. I was like, who told you? Who told you? He's like, oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I got confused. I'm like, okay, there's something going on here. Long story short, we have a new table now.
Months later.
Give it up for the new table, man.
Yeah, literally months later.
Months later, bro. You remember in October, we got the new first week of January.
Yeah. It took a long time.
First week of Jan.
I was somewhat proactive in getting one.
Somewhat
proactive.
Bro, that proactivity.
Okay, so first of all, wait, time out. First of all,
took you 3 months to get a table.
Wait, hold it. First, we had to get the month of, what's that, like, stages of, like, grief. It's like acceptance. I was like, okay, we're never getting our table up. Once I had to accept that, then I was like, okay, we'll look for a new table. Facebook Marketplace, this person fell through at the last minute. I sent you guys that one,
Man said one table in 2 months.
IKEA, wasn't really working out. So finally, I found a table. And the great thing is, I'm glad we hold out because we got this table for free.
We did get a free table
for free.
It's nice too.
But the funniest part was in that in-between stage, if there ever was any tension, which there wasn't actually real tension, I'm just like joking. Yeah. But it was like, bro, we need a table.
Well, at least I didn't lose a table.
But like, cause I'm like, after a long day of work, you come back.
Big on dinner.
You wanna eat. You wanna eat.
I mean, we have a living room with
it's a coffee table. Don't do that. Hey, don't do that. We have a little coffee table. But like, you might be watching TV. Someone else might be there. It's like, okay, like I don't want to cramp on your space, but we just had to share this little coffee table. So if there ever was any tension, was in that in between phase where like every once in a while, I'd be like, so how's the table coming? Like, what's the progress on this table?
Flo just drop little hints.
Like, I'm not gonna let this go. Like, we need a table. we can't not have a dining table. But eventually, we got one. And I will also know, which I didn't mention before. So we asked them about the cameras, and so apparently cameras were working on every other floor, and they said they never saw it leave the floor. So to this day, that table is probably still on our floor.
That's what I'm saying.
So someone on our floor has our table. So we got ops in our building.
We do have ops in our building. I knew that even before. Because
the table was outside for literally.
Dude, we know the time frame was
11:30 to 11:59.
You guys think I'm not angry? I'm angry about it too, man. Like, yo.
We'll find it eventually.
Yeah, that's the thing. We'll find them eventually. Someone's gonna be moving out one day, and we'll be like, do a double,
and then we'll just make eye contact with them and just be like, no, we do have, because a couple weeks later we had a little after party for somebody's birthday party.
Oh yeah,
and we got some complaints on that.
Now we did get some complaints. Now that's another which again what are y'all's thoughts? What is y'all's problem? What is your take on like the appropriate level of like hosting, having people over, the right amount of people? Like, what's your take on that? Because if there's anything y'all might probably be annoyed at me about, I was probably doing too much the first few months, maybe. Like every week, it's like people hosting, people do whatever. I don't know. Like,
honestly,
you didn't complain, so like I don't know. But that one, I remember like I came. It was the next morning when I was. I walk in and the doorman, he's like, what time did you go to bed last night? I was like, we were out late. I was like, okay, Dad. It was one of them nights. And he was like, he said he was definitely excited, but it's like, bro, the whole floor complained about your apartment. Yeah. I was like, the whole floor? What do you mean the whole floor? And I was like, we might have had people there till like 4 a.m. Yeah, I'm like, what you mean? But he was like, yeah, people were complaining. They like, like, who could we call to complain? I was like, what do you mean? First of all, we are the victim. We're victims on that floor. Victims of a robbery. We are allowed to have people over as late as we want when you steal our table.
We pay rent just like everybody else.
We pay rent. But yeah, that's the end. He was like, oh, they were like, who could we go because he said they came to him and he was like, oh, I can't do anything about this. So they were like, who could we go above you to go to?
I was like, know it got to.
Oh, I probably left that back. Which is why I sent a text to the child. I was like, we'll slow down. We'll slow down on having people over. We'll slow down for and we haven't actually done anything.
Yeah, we haven't had a lot.
So tonight.
Yeah, that's true. First night back.
We're gonna get to Eagles Giants later.
Yeah.
Don't leave out the Commanders, bro.
We don't care about the Commanders. There's a reason we strategically left out the Commanders. But carry on, please.
No, but what I was gonna say is, I think for myself, I'll just speak for myself again. Like, I love the fact that like Flo especially, and you too, in the summertime especially, like you guys were really outside, like trying to get to know people, and you guys already had a lot of like friendships, relationships, etc.
What you mean he's outside? I take that back. Miley, he was not outside.
Yeah,
not in a good way. In a good way. Like
in a wholesome way. We're gonna have to cut that.
No, but what I was saying is that I really like the fact that Flo is like really outside because it allowed me to get to know like a bunch of really cool people in the city.
Yeah, exactly.
And another thing that's crazy is before I met my girlfriend Yaz, shout out Yaz.
Shout out Yaz. Shout out Mila.
Yeah, shout out Mila.
Every chance we get, you got to shout out the girlfriends, okay?
Right.
That's right. But before I met Yaz and before I met y'all two, I really didn't like hosting. Like, I was very like uncomfortable with it because I always felt I needed to make sure everyone was having a good time, and it didn't allow me to like enjoy the party night, whatever it is.
It's stressful.
But since I met y'all three, I literally love it now. And I feel like it's just because I'm like in a space of comfort and like I can wear sweats, I can wear my slides. Like it doesn't have to be cook egg. Yeah. I can do like whatever.
And our space is really good for hosting too. So that makes it better. And again, all the people who are coming over is good vibes. Except the one funny enough, I told you a story about the night the last time that we had like the after party for someone's birthday, like when everyone got mad. And the story of how, so essentially it was one of our friends' birthdays and we're all looking for something to do after because they had their venue rented till like maybe like 1, 2 a.m., whatever time. And me, Flo being Flo, I was like, after party, our place. Yeah. Spread the word. Everybody come over.
They sent out a text. I was like, there was a few people. I was like, oh, no one's really gonna come. And I hear my phone ding, and I'm like,
people were there before we showed up.
I was like, that looks like my address. Yeah. Hopefully we come here.
So essentially invite all the people over from there, which again didn't know everyone. Knew most of the people, didn't know everyone. Yeah. But I told y'all the story about how the last dude who left. It was hilarious. There was this big bottle of this like 68 proof, some really high proof vodka, something. And so like at a certain point, it was probably like 4 a.m. Like it was late. We're like, all right, everybody go home. I shoot. It was already down. Now we're shooting everyone. The very last guy to leave, who I didn't recognize this guy. I didn't know who he was. I still want to know who he was. But it was just me and Obi. So we're standing. We have like a little bar area. Takes a cup. Keep in mind, 4 a.m. Takes a cup. Takes a bottle of vodka, this very high proof vodka, just starts pouring. I'm like, all right, a little shot for the road. Little shot for the road. Keeps pouring.
Okay, a double.
Damn near a full cup, straight vodka, 68 proof. Takes a cup, walks out the door.
I'm like, bro, what?
It's crazy.
What part of your night is left?
I was gonna say, I wanted, like, did he have other plans? Was he just gonna go drink that by himself? Like, I still don't know what that was. And so that was just the most random thing. So for the most part, it's like great vibes, people who come over. But this one guy was like,
you also remember, this was like one of the hardest times I think we've laughed together. Bro, what night?
Don't say any names. Don't say any names.
I don't even remember who it was, to be honest. But I just remember we looked at each other and just literally were dying laughing. And no one else knew like what was going on. But
and so hosting people is always good vibes, which is just again when we had the complaints from everyone on the floor. I was like, we'll slow down a little bit.
Jealous,
They're just jealous.
They wanted the invite.
That's honestly, low key, we should maybe like a little floor party. Everyone on the floor.
And then we can figure out who took our table.
That's it. Bring it back full circle.
When everyone said we sneak into the apartments, take a little quick peek. There we go. We're onto something there. But no, so okay, I'm glad y'all are not annoyed about the hosting. Right?
Yeah.
And if you ever were, just let me know. we'll slow it down.
Transparency, man.
Transparency, exactly.
Yeah, you were up front with us. You were like, I do like to host a lot, so if I ever
Yeah.
and I remember, I think we only had a couch in our apartment. It was very early days. We only had a couch, and I hadn't even moved in yet. I was just coming. I was gonna like crash on the couch for a night and go out. And Flo was like, yeah, I'm gonna have some people over for a pregame. And I'm like, cool. And so like a few people show up, it's good vibes, whatever. And I was with some friends. I'm like, oh, like we were like gonna go out and grab something. So I go out to grab something. I come back, and there's like 3 times as many people there. And I start talking to the people, and they're like, oh, like, who do you like know live here? I'm like, I live here. I'm like, what do you mean I live here? They're like, oh no, I thought Flo lived here. I'm like, yeah, me and Flo live here. I'm like, hey, who are all these people?
That's hilarious.
But yeah, no, the hosting is good vibes. So I guess kind of on this same thread, I'm curious because I've not asked this before, and you kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier. I want first impressions of each other from everyone. Y'all go and then I'll go.
That's a good question.
I'll give first impression of Flo. It's funny because our families met each other.
Our families did meet each other.
And they get along really well.
Too well.
And when our dads are together, the last time our dads were together, I thought they were talking and they were like, I almost wanted to say, I was like, did you guys rehearse this before? And so it was just like very like common backgrounds, and like he went to the same school as my older sister, so we just had like a lot of common like family and stuff like that. So I was like obviously like really excited to like get to know him more. So like it was generally positive, and I was like, okay, this is definitely like a really social guy and like a guy that like likes to be outside. So I was like, those are good first impressions. And then Grant, I met Grant like a week after I moved in. I was like helping him move with his parents and stuff like that. They told me he played basketball. I was like, okay, so we got another hooper in the house. Got another hooper in the house. I was like, all right.
Play, by the way.
We've never
Got
played.
another
We
hooper in the
started
house. But it was like the same type of thing. I was just like, okay, like this is gonna be chill. Like this is gonna be good vibes.
Yeah. No, I think when I met Flo, since I met him first, again, like I kind of said, podcast dude, like super energetic, very extroverted. And it was
Omnivert.
Like,
I'm an omnivert.
No, oh yeah, my fault.
Ambivert.
I'm omnivert.
I was such a
omnivert. Like what?
Ambivert.
Shout out Shaq.
Shout out Shaq. Ambivert. I didn't mean to gaslight you, my guy. That's a real word. A real word. No, but since we're on the sorry to cut you off, but I'll get back to you. I actually am an ambivert, guys.
Okay.
I know y'all
highly disagree. Highly disagree.
No. Here's the thing. And I've described, and I'll get to, this is so good. It's just fucking piecing it together. So I'll get to this later. But no, when it comes down to it, when I'm outside, I like to be outside.
Yeah.
When I'm in my space and by myself, sometimes I really like chilling by myself.
Yeah.
Last semester of college, when I got COVID, there was a week when I was in a one person, I had a single by myself. That week when I would wake up, didn't have to go to class. I'd watch Love Island all day. Didn't have to talk to anyone. Was just vibing by myself. That was probably the week I had COVID was probably one of my favorite weeks. Because I actually really like to be by myself and to just chill. But obviously when I'm outside, I'm gonna be social. I'm gonna go talk to people. So when it comes down to it, yes, as much as like I'm very extroverted, sometimes I'm like, leave me the fuck alone. I actually don't want to talk to anybody.
I think that's just like human emotion though, right? Like,
so I'm an ambivert. Okay, don't gaslight me now.
I mean, everybody want to be an ambivert. No. But that's fair. I get what you're saying. Like, the way I think of it is like how you recharge. Like, do you get energy from being outside and like talking to people, or do you really get energy from like being to yourself? So I hear where you're coming from. I think especially like when you have to be like very extroverted sometimes. So like if your work is a certain way, or like if for whatever reason you've just been very social, I think recharging kind of changes sometimes, and you do kind of want to be yourself. So I get where you're coming from.
Word. But I didn't mean to cut you off. You were still
saying. Oh, no worries. And then Obi, like, it was just good vibes. I think of when I first met Obi, I was like, all right, this dude's super chill, like super like laid back, relaxed, and I felt very comfortable living with him because it was just very like natural, chill, like good vibes. And yeah, that was like my first impressions.
Word. And yeah, honestly, so for you, because I met you first, and it was that same first day, that Target day. Shout out Target, sponsor the podcast.
Shout out Target.
Shout out Target. But
No,
no,
they're not sponsoring though.
Yeah,
So
it's-
if they're not sponsoring.
It's not
you
an
gotta cut
ad.
that out.
Yeah. No free one.
content.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing free. But no, very similar vibes. I was like, we're very similar people. We'll get along well. And even funny, I don't know if I've told you this, and I actually said this I've told the story on another podcast. I think it was actually the Meet Cute pod. I have an episode called Meet Cute, and I told the story. But when I was trying to figure out who I was going to live with, so last summer I lived with my friend Max, who y'all both met. He was at my birthday dinner, but he is living with his brother now in the city. And then my other friend Andrew, which I don't think y'all met him yet, but he moved to Boston. And so I was like, who am I going to live with? So like thinking about it, I was like, oh, Grant, like cool ass dude. I'm going to reach out. When I tell you, it probably took me like a month to like send the text of like, do you want to live together? Because for whatever reason, asking someone to live with you, I felt like I was proposing to you.
Yeah,
And like I was
yeah.
asking for some long-term commitment. So when I tell you, like it took me a while to send the message, recrafted, draft, one draft. And then I sent it, and you came back in like 2 minutes. I was like, why did I overthink that?
Yeah.
But it took me so long to send that first text of like, oh, do you want to live together?
It's crazy because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, all right, if I'm living with anyone, it's gonna be flow. Like, I was like, instant vibes. Like, I don't know him that well, but I trust. Again, I've kind of alluded to this, but like, I trust the fact that he's a good dude and like we would get along. And I think I cut you off too, but I just want to say, I think the other like this is not really a first impression, but like an early impression is when I met your guys' friends, and I was like, all right, their friends are dope.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I already know. Like, within like a few weeks, I was like, you guys have dope friends. So like, I know you guys are good people. And that's how I judge character a lot of times too.
Yeah, the people you hang around is definitely a real thing. And then for Obi, very similar because first time we met was when we saw the apartment together for the first time. And I remember I got there first to the apartment. And I see this guy walking up, I'm like, that motherfucker's swole. Facts.
Jail body.
Middle of the summer, we were in tight shirt. I'm like,
That was not weird. That was not that tight of a shirt.
well, here's my tight shirt. So first
Built
impression, I was like, that's a swole guy. Carnegie Mellon football. They work out. And then very kind of, again, what you said, I feel like you're probably the most like chill, calm one out of the trio, which is that nice little balance where it's probably like me, probably been the most like, you're in the middle, and then Obi's like the calmest one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the first impressions, and then again, I think it's kind of all held up.
Weird.
Okay, it's been nothing bad about this whole experience, and that also leads me to my next question, because I've gone back to campus a few times, or when I talk to people who are still in school and they ask me, "Oh, who you living with? How did you meet with roommates?" What are your thoughts, or I guess when people ask, how do you propose living with people that like are your best friends from school versus like the situation that we have where we didn't know each other beforehand? Just what are your general thoughts when people kind of ask you, oh, like what for living situation wise, how do I go about it?
I think it depends on the type of person that like you are. Like, you gotta do some thinking about and self-reflecting about like yourself and what you want. I still have a lot of very good relationships, like from home, from high school, which is home, and then from college as well.
Yeah.
And for myself, I was like, I'm starting a new phase in my life. Like, I really want to get to know new people. And I think I am more extroverted. So like, I knew there would be situations where I would naturally meet people, but I figured this was a moment where like, it's a natural meetup or meet cute, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm learning.
Yeah, meet cute.
Meet cute, yeah. So I think it just depends on who you are. I think if you're extroverted and comfortable being around different people, then like you're in a new stage of life, go meet new people.
Yeah. This is a similar thing. I was kind of thinking like a lot of growth happens outside of your comfort zone. And I was like, okay, I'm already moving to the new city. Like, let me like try to like live with some new people that I don't know and like get to know them. Because like I think all through college I lived with guys that were like on my football team, and like you obviously spend a lot of time with them and you get really comfortable with them, and you're like, okay, like I'm already moving to a new city. Let me like just expand my horizons. So that was like a lot of my thinking behind it. But I kind of do understand the other side of like wanting to live with people you're familiar with, because it can just make that transition a lot easier. And like you already have like your set like group of friends, and like you guys already have that like shorthand, like which I feel like we got really fast.
Yeah.
Like we've lived together for like 6 months, but you could honestly think like we lived together for like years.
That's
So,
crazy to think about. Like, it's really only been
It's like
6
6
months.
months.
6
yeah.
months, yeah.
That's crazy.
Live on the podcast, can you commit to another year? No, I'm kidding.
I'm with it.
But where though?
But no, because and again, so when I agree with both the things that you just said, because one, it is such a hard transition moving. Spoken about this at length, both like on last episode, just in person. This transition from college to real life is hard, regardless of what job you're doing, what school you went to, what city you're moving to. It's going to be a hard one, regardless. Put on top the jobs you work, the hours, all that. It just makes it that much harder. So I understand wanting the comfort of these are tried and true people who it's like tested relationship. Like I know it's going to work out. Versus, oh, I don't want to take the chance. Because I can't even imagine because some work days are so hard, so annoying. I can't imagine if like I came back and I had to come back to roommates like I didn't like.
Yeah.
That would just suck. So I definitely understand wanting to do something that's already proven. But at the same time, after our experience, anyone who asks me, I'm like, if you can help it, if you can help it, and if you are able to somehow just connect with other people, I recommend you don't live with people that you're friends with and who you work with, or not who you work with. People that because we all work at the same company but different divisions.
Mm-hmm.
But people, I recommend you live with people who you didn't go to school with and who aren't your best friends. Because, especially in New York City, whatever school you go to, you're gonna have people from your school here.
Yeah,
you're gonna have friends here, and so they will be there for you to hang out with when you want to hang out with them. But there's more. I honestly think there's more upside than downside potential for putting yourself out there and meeting people. Because again, back to what you said, probably like one of my favorite parts about not knowing both of you beforehand has been meeting each of your friends.
Yeah.
Like, shout out our
our
fourth
fourth
roommate.
roommate.
I can't believe it took us this long to shout out our fourth roommate. Shout out Shannon.
Shout out Shannon.
Shout out Shannon.
Get him on the pod.
So yeah, I basically met Alexis through you.
Yeah.
So that was your whole friend, your whole squad, your whole Amherst squad. Basically, yeah, met a bunch of your friends. And that's probably been one of my favorite part is it just grew our circle and our, I hate using the word network, but it is your network.
Yeah.
It's grown it that much more because if I had come live with Princeton people, I would have stayed just so insulated in that orange bubble, as we say, versus now I know people that I wouldn't have met otherwise.
And it's cool too because like on the idea of like I'm big on like family and like chosen family versus the family you're blessed with. Like I think chosen family to me is very important because you get to choose those people. And like one thing that I've always told myself is that my chosen family will help out other people who I consider family. And I think that's been one thing that's cool about like our network or like us meeting, whatever you want to call it, is it's not only just great vibes, but it's like people genuinely want to see your friends succeed.
Yeah.
It's like I literally have friends who are like, good luck, like have a great podcast tomorrow. Like because I told them I was excited about it. And it's like they know what's going on in my roommates' lives because like they're just good people and genuine people. And I feel like same can be said about all your friends.
You get like we were out to dinner one time with like a few of your friends. You gave like a similar type of toast,
Yeah,
and it was a really
wholesome
great
toast.
toast. Yeah, it was like a really great toast.
This guy can give a toast.
This guy like
This
a
guy
really
can give-
great
this guy
toast
can give a
along
toast.
those lines. And like I was like, I started to tear. I was like, man.
Yeah, he dropped that same nugget of like chosen family.
I was like,
damn,
wow, this is really coming together, man.
It's gang.
I'm about to say, yeah. And so it's just interesting. Again, I'm honestly curious. I don't know how many, most people that I speak with, they live with people from high school. So I don't even know how many people have a similar situation.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I would guess that for the most part, it all works out well. Like, I actually know. So I'm thinking about my cousin. Shout out to Mish. No, because he had a living, his roommate's not, his old roommate's not going to listen to the podcast. But essentially, had a roommate, he said they just didn't talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
that's awkward.
at all.
That's awkward.
They shared the same living space, but like no conversation, knew nothing about the guy. And I can't imagine if that was kind of what our situation was like.
Yeah.
So just, thankful for y'all both. Since we're in this wholesome part of the episode, I'm thankful for you both, chosen family, blah, blah, blah.
I also want to say, like, for both of you guys, I really admire you guys' work ethic and like your commitment, but then also on the flip side of that, your ability to have fun, really like to chill and like really connect with people is something I admire about both of you guys. And I think that's really made this transition to New York really, really fun. And
Hey,
I
man,
was-
I'm gonna bless you, bro. This is
Well, give you guys your flowers, man. Give you guys your flowers, man, because it's rare, and I really appreciate and admire that about you guys. So,
Appreciate y'all too, man.
That's what's up, man. This is
That's real.
Look at
yeah.
this.
All right, but now
this is
we got to air out the grievances. Few things.
Uh-oh.
First and foremost.
I thought he was joking.
First and foremost, where's this camera? Let me look in this camera.
That's the camera right there.
Oh, where-
yeah.
Flo does not like The Sopranos. And this
Show
has
is
been
kind of
weighing.
whack. I
That's
can't
some
lie.
Yeah, okay,
whack.
so
The ones
Grant-
with like 20 minutes I saw were kind of whack.
Now this has been weighing on my heart heavy. Because at first I was like, everybody has their own opinion. And then I saw a clip the other day and I was just, I don't understand how you can't like this show. So if we're talking about things that, we want to get off our chest, I really want you to restart The Sopranos. Give yourself some more time. Restart The Sopranos through a new lens. I think you watched it too close to when you watched The Wire, so you were comparing the two of them, which is
But
not really fair.
shouldn't we
That's
want
fair.
greatness to be at the same time? We want LeBron to play MJ. You want to
It's
have
different. It's
greatness next to
different.
each other.
No.
I feel like the simple fact that you're saying like I shouldn't watch The Sopranos soon after The Wire, you know that it can't even hold a candle to it.
No,
So like,
no,
give
that's
it
not
some
true. That's not true.
Okay.
That's not true. I love both of those shows. And I think if you love The Wire, but I feel like the type of show The Wire was, you were trying to make The Sopranos that type of show. And it's not.
I'm glad you brought this up. Okay. Because I don't know who's listening, but I'm here to tell you The Sopranos might be the single most. That's the camera. The Sopranos might be the single most overrated show in the history of television. No, let me finish. So, I watched The Wire, which I'll again say that is the single best show.
Give it up for The Wire, man.
Give it up for The Wire.
Great show.
Phenomenal show. Seasons 1 through 5.
show.
I swear to you, after the last episode of the show, I got chills. Like
It's crazy.
goosebumps. Because I was like, this is quality television.
Yes.
Season 3, I believe. Season 3 or 4 might be my single favorite season of television.
Which
ever.
one is that?
That's the one where I don't want to. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't. The show
If you
came
ain't- if you ain't watching by now.
the show came out 20 years
Just
ago.
give a
If,
quick synopsis, yeah.
if I'm spoiling it, that's on you. Skip 20 seconds ahead. Where Stringer gets
Okay,
killed.
season
That
3.
season,
yeah.
season 3.
That is
phenomenal
a great season.
season.
That is a great
The
season.
montage at the end of season 4.
Mhm.
Oh my god. That's the one that's more focused on the kids.
Yes.
And you
School
see
system,
like,
yeah.
the school system, that montage at that song, like phenomenal song. I'm forgetting the name, but phenomenal song. So that montage, phenomenal. Season 3, phenomenal. Michael B. Jordan, Idris Elba, all the phenomenal actors in the show. The writing, the storytelling, the acting, phenomenal. Top to
Legendary.
bottom, that is a masterpiece in television. So I finished that show, and whenever I finish the show, I always like Google, like I'm always like curious. I'll like do a bunch of research. Come to find out, when it first aired, it wasn't that popular of a show.
Yeah.
It was struggling to stay, to get renewed. Didn't really have that many viewers. And then I stumbled upon every single list of like the 100 greatest TV shows ever. And essentially every single one that I saw, it was The Wire #2. And I was like, what could beat The Wire? Nothing could beat The
Yeah.
Wire. This is a great show I've ever seen. And #1 was The Sopranos. And I was like, okay, open-minded. Let me give this show a chance. So right after I watched, after I finished The Wire, you probably didn't think I was going to go on this tangent, huh? I'm glad you.
No,
set
I
this,
did.
I'm
I mean,
glad
listen,
you set.
listen,
I'm glad
like-
you set this up. So right after I finished The Wire, I was like, let me watch The Sopranos. I gave it 1 season. I was like, I'm not seeing it, but okay, 1 season, which is a lot. First of all, a whole season. I gave it the whole first
I didn't
season.
even know you watched the whole season.
I watched the whole first season, and I was like, okay, let me give it a. Pretty sure I watched it. Yeah, definitely watched the whole first season. I was like, okay, let me get into the second season. A few episodes in, I was like, I'm trying to force myself to like this because everyone is saying how great it is, and everyone's ranking it the #1 show of all time, but it wasn't there. I literally played you the clip of the dude getting shot,
like, the dude
and
getting
they
shot.
shoot. They,
No, but also, okay, wait, time out.
No,
I'm gonna add another layer to this because wait,
No.
because this dude also didn't like Black Panther 2. Don't let him lie to you. So can we get Tress's opinion?
Yes,
he said the kid at the end was a bad actor.
That kid was a horrible actor.
How can you look at that program? So
Just
you
want
got
to
a
say
question.
this is like a sneak peek into what we talk about. every day. So, like,
No. And I stare on that 10 toes down.
Okay.
Black Panther did a
So
phenomenal job.
He's not.
No, that's first of all, no, because here's the thing. You feel like you're supposed to say you love Black Panther because it's Black Panther. Here's the thing. Black Panther 1, phenomenal. Black Panther 2, and I said this is what I said, a phenomenal job of paying tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Phenomenal in the movie. Phenomenal. And again, you have to acknowledge, I think they had to rewrite the whole thing when he passed away.
Yeah, that's true.
And in the process of rewriting, got a little bit wrong. In my opinion, I didn't think the plot made that much sense. And yes, the kid at the end, horrible actor. You had 2 lines to deliver. Bro,
Can you imagine? I was almost crying. 6 years old, I was crying in the movie theater. Flo was like, this nigga stinks.
Yes, literally. It was that noticeably bad where I was like, it ruined that moment for me. So yes, I didn't think overall that the movie was close to the first, but I acknowledge because they had to rewrite the first one that again, that's a hard thing to do when the main character passes away. Phenomenal job paying tribute, but I didn't love the plot.
I have a quick point about The Sopranos. What you said. You said everyone thinks it's like the first ranked movie.
Sure.
The critics are like probably a very specific group of people.
Fair.
But so like that
I'm not a
influences
critic.
lot.
I like
You
it.
right?
So essentially, I say all that to say you brought that up trying to be like, oh, Flo doesn't like The Sopranos. I'm glad you brought that up. That show's trash.
So yeah.
So I will not be
I just want to show
it.
people it's not all perfect in our house. Like we all don't love everything about each other. Like
we do fight. Like
we
every
do
healthy
fight.
relationship, there are fights and arguments. So yeah,
Probably will be a fight tomorrow. Arsenal.
Yo, probably gonna be a fight tonight.
Eagles Giants.
Eagles Giants.
I won't be involved in that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're recording this January 21st. I don't know when this episode will come out. Like probably 10 days from now. Every 2 weeks. But yeah, tonight's Eagles Giants. I'm an Eagles fan. Obi's a Giants fan. Playoffs. One, NFC East rivalry. Crazy. Meeting in the playoffs. High stakes. Having a little watch party.
Yeah.
It'll be good. I can't wait till I can't wait. I got this Jalen Hurts shirt that it says I got it when the last game I went to says Jalen fucking Hurts. Phenomenal shirt. That's coming out tonight. If we win, which we will. Even if we that's the shirt I'm wearing out tonight. I'm repping my team.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Shout out Bart Scott. Can't wait. I don't even know how he got here. Which again, like I said, that's my favorite part.
Go with the flow.
And then the day after that, Sunday, My United Arsenal. My United Arsenal.
Crazy.
My United. Now we got something for you, boys.
Let's do predictions right now.
Big sports weekend. Eagles winning by like 14. I'm gonna say 28-14 Eagles.
Okay.
Man U 3-1 Arsenal.
Ooh. Okay.
That's crazy. All right, Eagles, Cowboys. I'm gonna say 21-10 Eagles. Tomorrow, I'm gonna say 2-1.
Okay.
Arsenal.
Oh wow. I got Giants by 4. I don't know what the score is, but I got them by 4, and I got 1-1 draw. Man United Arsenal.
Fair enough. And I guess we'll know the real results tonight, and tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll have to circle back. But okay, because we have 5 minutes left. One last thing before we get to the. Did you prepare your songs?
I do got a few songs.
I got a few songs.
You got okay. Good answer. Better.
We
answer.
learned from watching last week's episode.
You learn from watching Shaq. Just if you have quick stories about the worst living situation that you've had. Oof. Don't name any names, but just quick stories.
That's a good question.
That laugh tells me you got something.
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm trying to think. I would probably say it was like the best and worst for me. It was my first semester of sophomore year of college. Shout out Fru, one of my best friends. Great guy. You guys know Fru.
Yeah, shout out Fru.
But I wasn't roommates with him. But we lived like with each other. And that's the reason why it was the best. Let me preface by saying that. Best and worst. But living with him made it like a very fun experience. But we lived like very, very far away from campus. There were some, I'll say, extracurricular activities by another guy and his girlfriend like every night above me. So I'm trying to keep it clean, but like literally heard it every night. I went to school in Massachusetts, so I had to walk in the snow like everywhere. So that made it the worst, but like living with Fru made it also like one of the most memorable. So
I lived with my younger brother for most of my like growing up. That had to be the worst. That had to be the worst. It just doesn't work out when you get to a certain age to like live with your brother in the same room. He snored for a lot of his life, so that was great.
Boy, yeah.
But I've honestly been blessed. I've had some good living situations. In college, I lived with 3 guys on the football team, and we lived together from sophomore year all the way through like the end. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that.
That's what's up.
And then obviously I've got this. So 3 for 3.
3 for 3. There you go. I will say, so I don't know how it was for y'all, but for us freshman year, you come in and it's a randomized living situation.
Yeah.
You fill out a survey that's like this very comprehensive thing about like how many people you want to live with, like what type of person are you. I swear they take that and they just disregard it. They didn't take any.
They drop it out the window.
They drop it out. They take it, cool, bet, throw it out. Because I ended up getting put in a quad, so it was me and 3 other guys. Why am I getting work emails right now, bro? This is ridiculous. So it was me and 3 other guys. And again, I've said this before, and like I don't think anyone would dispute this. Me and one got along well, and the other 2 got along better. My direct roommate, he was a snorer, so that was loud. He had fish, which. Good for you, but like there was a lot of fish in our room.
What?
And then the fish food was like in our fridge, and then like in my fridge. It was my fridge, my mini fridge, and then I would smell it because it was by my desk. Yeah, so good guy, but like that was a tough one. Okay, quickly songs if you have them. Let's hear them.
You want to go every other?
I like that. Yeah, go every other song and then quick description about why.
Before we do this, can I ask what would your song be if you had to choose one?
So, in the interest of time, people have asked me this. I've not come up with it. This is more of a guess question.
Okay.
So I don't have a list now.
All right. Want to go first?
You got it.
All right. One of my songs is "Lit Like This" by Skepta. I really love that song.
Because he swears he's British.
I swear I'm British. It really gets me hyped. It's a great pregame song, and it's just like a song about turning up. So I like that song.
First one I'll say is "Celebrate" by Kwesi Arthur and Tenny.
Great song.
And I think I try and have that energy and hope that I give that energy to other people because it's about celebrating life. So,
I got "American Boy" by Estelle. I just really love that song.
That was British boy, innit?
Yeah, it's a mad thing. But I think that's a song about like letting loose and having fun. So I like that.
I'm gonna say this is low-key our song, but "Common Person."
Oh, I'm a person, bro.
Yeah, like I don't know, that song just hits different. I feel like
so different.
It gives you a sense of like humility that I think is really important in everyone.
Yeah, I got "Level Up," Twice as Tall by Burna. Not his most like his best album, but I really like that song. There's a certain lyric about it, sort of how like when your back's against the wall, that's when you really have to level up and like go twice as tall. So I really like that song.
Okay. I'm gonna say, I wrote down a few. I'm gonna say "Killer," Nipsey Hussle, Drake. That's one thing that I don't know if I'm there yet, but like that song embodies kind of what I want to be because it's just like I feel like moving to the city too. There's a very certain culture that comes with, especially where we work, and there's like a mentality that you have to go get what you want, and you got to be a killer. So
you eat what you kill.
Say that. Yeah.
I got "Do Not Disturb," Drake. It's just like perfect outro track. It's really smooth. A lot of good lyrics on that. It's a very pensive song. Makes you think. So like
"Love Yours," J. Cole.
Oof.
That'd be my favorite J. Cole song.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, great song.
Same with me, honestly. I feel like, again, taking a step back, you may not have everything in the world that you want, but you have, or at least I have what I need. So yeah, that's a short version.
I think the last one is gonna be. I think this is the theme song for our house. It's "Plenty" by Bernie Boy. That is the theme song for our house.
That is, yeah.
So yeah, that's my last one.
I don't even need to say a last one.
I'm about to say that's a perfect one to end on.
Go listen to that song. You've never heard it.
Perfect one to end this podcast episode on. One, I will say real quick, I'm going on a trip this Thursday. It's gonna be my first real vacation since that song dropped. I'm gonna play that on repeat the whole time.
Crazy.
I can't wait. But thank you both for coming on. This has been another phenomenal episode.
Cheers, mate.
Grateful to have y'all both as my roommates, and grateful to have you both in my life. everyone listening, like I said, like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, share, post, comment, do all the fun things that again are gonna help me in this little side hustle that I'm doing. And yeah, this has been another episode of Go with the Flow. Thank you for listening.
Shout out Flo.
Shout out Flo, man.